Hey guys, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I thought today it would be a good time to do a little bit of a garden tour. It's the end of March, and that way you can kind of see where we're starting from, what's coming up in the month of March here in Tennessee. A lot of the plants we transplanted over from our previous property, which we moved from in November of 2023. So our garden is extremely young right now. A lot of the plants are not mature. They've been taken from divisions or through cuttings, and so they need a little bit more time to grow. But let me go ahead and show you some of what we've got going. Right behind me is my shade garden area. And you'll note I've got pretty good sunlight right now. It gets morning sun and afternoon shade. And so that's why I've got these plants planted here. They're growing fantastic in this area. But let me show you a little bit more individually about what's here. So here is the shade garden as we've got it right now. You can see a lot of Heucheras that are up here around the edge of everything. I integrate the Heucheras and Hostas together to hopefully confuse the deer. Deer don't like Heucheras. As you can see, they're not even touched by anything over here, but they will enjoy Hostas very much so. So I try to integrate plants together that they're not going to like along with the plants that they will like. So all these Hostas that are going to come up eventually, like right here, you can see this one that I haven't potted yet in this pot. They all came from divisions from our previous property. In the center of this bed is a threadleaf Japanese maple. And it's a beautiful Japanese maple once it's all leafed out. And I planted it in such a way that I'm hoping to encourage these outer branches to move outward and away from the house because they'll get more light on this side of the tree. You can see it previously had another part to it going up high, and it was just planted in a bad spot where we had it before. But here it should get plenty of light and hopefully do very well. I've used a predominantly pine needle mulch, which is a very cheap way to go. You can see it's still got some pine cones in it from where it was gathered up. And there are a few weeds that are popping up here and there. And of course, you know, a lot of people are going to say this is not a weed. This is dead nettle right here. And a weed is basically any plant that's in a spot that you don't want it to be in. And I love dead nettle when it's out in the yard or kind of in the wild, and it's fine. I'll leave it just alone in the yard because it is a great pollinator source at the very beginning of the season. But in this bed, I probably don't want that here. There's also a wild geranium growing right there, and a few more dead nettle, and a little bit of chickweed over here. So I could probably take care of all this in a few minutes of weeding here in this garden bed. Back over here, I've got 3 of these planted in a triangle here, and this is a hydrangea called Lady in Red. I made those from cuttings from our previous location, and they are doing very good. Something did come in this winter and eat the top of them. Maybe it wasn't in the winter, maybe it was in the fall, but they should come back just fine. I'm not really expecting them to bloom this year. I mostly want them to get some nice strong foliage so that the following years we'll have some great looking hydrangeas. Now this here is another hydrangea. This is Nikko Blue. I got it just in a little baggy box type thing that you get like at Tractor Supply, and planted it in a pot temporarily while it can grow on a better root system. Nikko Blue produces a flower that's sort of a ball-shaped flower, and that flower itself is not a rebloomer. You know, the endless summer type of hydrangeas have gotten really popular, and so some of the more classic type of plants like Nikko Blue are not as sought after. But I went ahead and got one because I think they're pretty cool looking. Now many of my Heucheras are grown from seed. I don't think that one is there, but this one very well could be, and so could this one. A lot of those are probably Palace Purple, and Palace Purple does come true to type when you grow it from seed. Dale Strain is another that grows true from type if you're growing it from seed, but a lot of Heucheras are hybrids that will produce something more similar to one of the parent plants than they will the actual plant. This particular one here looks like it could be potentially divided. It's got a lot of really good growth around the crown areas, so that might be a possibility later in the season. Now downspouts and drainage is something that's very important around your house and your gardens, and I put in this little brick pathway for the water to flow away from the house. It is porous, so the water can go down and get into the garden area, which is fine, but it shoots it on the other side. I'm not done with this yet. I want to put some decorative gravel over top of it and hide the bricks a little bit more. But it did an okay job. It gets the water away from the house pretty well and shoots it back out here into the yard, while at the same time allowing some of that water to actually get into this bed pretty good. On another side of our house, I've got a few other plants coming in here. This is an oak leaf hydrangea, and I grew it from a cutting, which you can do. They're not too bad to grow from cuttings. There was a time when I thought they were a little more difficult, but if you just keep them monitored, they grow really well from a cutting. So this one should be probably another year out before it actually produces any kind of blooms, but it's got some good growth right there at the top of it. And if you look down the stalk, there's a lot of good buds down that stalk. So we'll continue to nurture it and grow, and hopefully by next year it'll have some really nice blooms starting off. A little further down, that is a hellebore. And what I like about hellebores is that you can plant them in among your hostas, and it really kind of stops the deer in their tracks. They don't love these plants. These are pretty much untouched by anything. Over here, you've got, that's some sort of an encore azalea. I forget the variety name of it. I bought 2 of them in the fall last year and planted them over here. You can see it's got some new growth on it. It's got a little bit of growth that got singed in some way, so it will recover just fine. Ignore the wood. I built the raised beds and need to get that stuff put in the fire pit. But there's the other encore azalea, and there's another one of the hellebores. It is done blooming, and hopefully it will produce some seed that I can collect later on. Hellebore seed is best sown fresh, so if you do want to grow it from seed, go ahead and get it started and get those little seedlings germinated. And right here I have a Brandywine Viburnum, which is starting to show some leaves on it right there, which is great. And it is a native type of viburnum, and we transplanted this one from the other house. A little further down, we've got something that just looks like a bunch of sticks, but it is really another hydrangea. This one is, I think it's related to limelight hydrangea, but this is Pinky Winky. Pinky Winky, that's kind of a funny name to say, but it does have some buds that are showing right here, and it's got sort of a pinkish flower, like one of the paniculata type of hydrangeas do. And this little shrub right here is a Shasta Viburnum, one of my favorite viburnums ever, and it was grown from a cutting. It's looking pretty good here. It's probably about 3 years old. I started doing a lot of those cuttings well before I knew we were moving. That way I'd have something over here. I've got 2 of these planted near the house, and they will bloom with some really beautiful flowers that kind of go all along the stem area in kind of a double file, which incidentally is its other name, a double file viburnum. Now this tree is one of the first trees we planted here after we moved in. This is a Yoshino cherry tree, and I planted several of them at our previous property. We bought this one and planted here, but it is just a gorgeous tree to plant. They look great. They're the same trees that are well known in Washington, D.C. over there that came from Japan. But they are a very gorgeous cherry tree. I've always really enjoyed them. The bees seem to enjoy them as well. So it's a good plant to plant. They tend to be a little bit more problematic sometimes with cherry trees here in Tennessee than other trees do, but I still think the beauty is well worth it. So the front garden is just really starting to wake up. I've gotten in and done a little bit of pruning out some of the dead growth, like on this coreopsis there, and the coneflowers. You can see there's lots of green growth coming up from them. The Russian sage, I did a video on that recently about pruning it, and you can see these right here. This is little spire Russian sage, and down at the very base of the plants you've got some good growth happening. Not quite as much at the top area, but there is a little bit here and there happening. Just behind the Russian sage is prairie drop seed, which is just beginning to turn green. Don't pay attention to the wild garlic onions that are popping up in the beds here and there. Those need to be pulled, and they are so frustrating sometimes when you pull them and the base of them just kind of snaps off. But down over here we've got some hyacinths which are finishing up their bloom. If you want fragrance in your garden, they are a great thing to choose. Got some little tiny grape hyacinths in with them. This spirea, I have no clue what variety it is. It was actually one of the only plants that survived the first year or so of us gardening in the other house. And a lot of them died because we had a really harsh winter, had a lot of hollies and stuff that just didn't make it. But this spirea trucked on through, and I've just kind of kept it ever since. This is one division of the plant that we were able to pot up and transplant. Spirea is pretty easy to propagate from cuttings if you ever want to do that. Now right here, this is a bachelor button or cornflower plant, however you want to call it. We've got several extra plants that have somehow made it over across the sidewalk into the lawn. And, you know, I call it a lawn. That's kind of a loose term. It's a little bit wild right now. But right over here, you see another one of those cornflowers, bachelor buttons, and then there's more here. So we'll probably let them bloom a little bit, and then we'll need to cut them back before they start to take over the whole yard. So right here, we've got some irises. They'll bloom probably in another month or so. And then some yarrow, achillea. Next to it, we've got a sage in a pot. And behind it is a caryopteris right there. I've got some ornamental alliums that are planted and growing. They got a little singed by frost because they came up a little earlier than they should have. We've got another iris over here that is about to bloom. This is a reblooming iris. I believe it was a purple one. I think I had a white one at one time as well. And this is another Shasta Viburnum, the other one that I was talking about a minute ago. And it looks like it will put on a few blooms here and there. I'll probably go through and take a lot of cuttings after bloom so I can add some of these to other spots. So right here you can see our coral honeysuckle. It is a native honeysuckle, Lonicera sempervirens, and it is just doing amazing. We've got it trained up here, and it's going to kind of come onto the corner of the front porch a little bit. But it is just now starting to put on some buds, so we should start having some blooms here within a week or two. This is a 9-bark. I believe it's called Amber Jubilee. It's got some really beautiful foliage on it. I've got one other 9-bark that I did from cuttings of Diablo. I'll show you that one here in a few minutes. These little boxwoods that I grew from cuttings are doing very well. There's got a lot of new growth on them. They got a little singed in the weather, but they are definitely producing lots of different buds. I gave it a small pruning to help encourage some more bushiness about a week ago, and it's really starting to flush out. This viburnum looks amazing when it's flowering, and the foliage just looks fantastic too. It keeps this burgundy foliage until like really intense heat in the summertime, and then it starts to turn a little bit more green. But it's got these lace cap type flowers. This is Onondaga viburnum. Powys Castle Artemisia did very well through the winter. It is starting to put on some new foliage. I do need to give it a prune back. I'm hesitating just a little bit because I do know we may have a threat of some cold weather still to come in April. Right here in the front garden, we've got some Phlox subulata, which is moss phlox, which does really well here in Tennessee. It just kind of serves as a really good ground cover, and it just looks fantastic. When the flowers are done, it begins just looking like a little bit of a grassy type of moss that lays on top of the soil. It's a nice ground cover. The Caradonna salvia is looking great. In fact, it's about time for me to start taking some cuttings of it so I can spread it around a little bit more. But I love it right here, planted right next to a rock. In the fall, we went around and we put some seed out for clover, and you can see there that it's coming up very well. That's probably just the white Dutch clover right there, but we also threw out seed for crimson clover. So the purpose of that was just to get some nitrogen fixing happening in the yard, in the ground, and also to get some organic matter. So as we cut the lawn, cut the clover and other plants and stuff, it will break down and then return to the soil. That's one way you can kind of improve your soil without throwing a whole lot of chemicals on. It's probably a slower process overall, but I think it's better in the long run. And I'm not really concerned about having that perfect lawn, the golf course type lawn. I kind of like it a little bit on the wild side, like you can see right here. We've got a combination of henbit, dead nettle, clover, dandelions, and I think it's pretty nice. I don't really concern myself with having a perfect monoculture type lawn. So behind me, I've got a really long border bed that's going to be a transitional bed between the lawn area or the open space and the more natural area. So what I've got in here is just a bed that's been put down with wood chips, and I've placed a few plants here and there. I intend to put a lot of our seedlings for various things like the coneflowers, maybe some cuttings from Russian sage out here, things that are very tolerant of deer, rabbits, and other wildlife so that we can have a pretty nice border going in here as a transition into the wilder areas. Now, one of the newer plants that I've added is this salvia. It's a variation of Salvia nemorosa, which this particular one is called New Dimension Rose Salvia. And what I liked about it was just mostly the color. And I know Salvia nemorosa is an extremely good plant in the garden. It attracts pollinators. Plus, it is so hardy and so tough that you almost don't have to worry about it. And I planted it right next to a rock, which I moved from another spot over here because I just like integrating some hardscape into the garden areas. I think it gives it a little bit more natural look, and I just like it. Now this little plant right here is another 9-bark. I mentioned an earlier one, the Amber Jubilee. This one is called Diablo. And Diablo is a really beautiful one. It's been around for a long time. It goes to about 5 to 6 feet, tends to be pretty deer tolerant, and this will form a bit of a centerpiece in this garden area. Because down the way over here on the end, there's a pathway on that side, and then on the opposite side there will be another pathway, which actually there already is a pathway, and I'm going to frame it with some panicle hydrangeas, like a limelight hydrangea over here. I just think it would look fantastic in this area. Now down a little further from there, we've got some black-eyed Susans that came from a little division, and they will kind of pick up the slack over here behind this rock and start really producing some nice yellow flowers in the summertime. And so that's kind of where we are. Right now in spring, we're just starting to see the stuff come out here in Tennessee, and there's a lot of things yet to come this summer. So I hope you'll stay tuned and hit the like button, subscribe, and follow along for more garden stuff here on Growing the Home Garden. Thanks for watching.